What if a simple 5-cent Jefferson nickel sitting in your pocket could actually be worth millions of dollars? Today, we're revealing the top 3 rare Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickels that collectors are hunting for right now. Before you spend your next nickel, check it carefully because you might be holding a fortune. Look at your hands for a moment. Look at the loose change sitting in your cup holder, the jar on your nightstand, the forgotten coins scattered across your dresser. Now ask yourself a question that could change everything. When was the last time you actually looked at a nickel? Because here is the uncomfortable truth that separates the wealthy from the merely comfortable. The wealthy see what others overlook. They recognize potential where everyone else sees pocket lint. And right now, somewhere in America, there is a 5-cent piece sitting in a coffee can, a desk drawer, or a forgotten coat pocket that could be worth nearly $1 million. This is not hype. This is not clickbait. This is the reality of the 1967 no-mint mark Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel, a coin so rare, so misunderstood, and so deceptively ordinary that it has become the holy grail of modern numismatics. And here is the part that will haunt you. You have almost certainly held one. You have probably spent one. You may have one sitting within arm's reach right now. The difference between a 5-cent piece and a $965,000 windfall comes down to one thing: knowledge. The spender sees a nickel. The collector sees a fortune. Which one are you? Here is what makes this coin so diabolically easy to miss. In 1965, the United States was in the grip of a coin shortage so severe that the government panicked. Lawmakers, in their infinite wisdom, decided that coin collectors were to blame for hoarding currency and creating the shortage. So they did something drastic. They removed mint marks from all United States coins. Every coin struck from 1965 through 1967, whether it came from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, bore no mint mark whatsoever. This was supposed to discourage collecting. Instead, it created one of the most confusing and potentially lucrative eras in American coinage history. By the time 1967 rolled around, over 107 million nickels were produced across multiple mints, all of them indistinguishable by mint mark. All of them bearing the face of Thomas Jefferson. All of them showing Monticello on the reverse. And almost all of them worth exactly 5 cents. Almost. But here is where it gets interesting. Stop and think about this for a moment. Do you know where the nickels in your pocket were minted? Of course you do not, because the government made it impossible to know. That is what makes the 1967 nickel unique. It is a ghost. A coin with no identity, no origin story, no clear lineage. And the numismatic world has been chasing ghosts ever since. Let us get technical, because this is where the ordinary becomes extraordinary, where the mundane transforms into the magnificent. The 1967 Jefferson nickel weighs exactly 5 grams. It measures 21.2 millimeters in diameter. It is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel. On the obverse, you have the left-facing profile of Thomas Jefferson, designed by Felix Schlag, whose initials were added to the base of the bust in 1966. On the reverse, you have Monticello Jefferson's beloved Virginia estate, with its iconic steps leading up to the portico.in, the world of Jefferson nickel collecting. There is a grading designation that separates the mundane from the magnificent: full steps. To achieve full step status, the steps on Monticello must be fully struck, fully defined, with no weakness or blending. It sounds simple. It is anything but. Here is the staggering reality. The Professional Coin Grading Service, or PCGS, the most respected grading authority in the industry, has never certified a single 1967 Jefferson nickel with full steps details. Not one. In over 50 years of searching, examining, and authenticating millions of coins, not a single example has emerged with fully defined steps on the reverse. Let that sink in. Over 107 million coins minted. Over half a century of collecting. 0 full step specimens discovered. Why? Because the dies used to strike these coins were worn, overused, and constantly reused instead of being re-engraved. The 1967 nickel, along with the 1969D and 1969S nickels, are the only business strike Jefferson nickels from 1965 to the present that are completely unknown to exist with full steps details. The odds are that the full steps details were never even on the actual dies. This is not rarity. This is a ghost hunt. But wait, There is more. Because the 1967 nickel exists in another form entirely, one that adds another layer of complexity and potential value. During the coin shortage, the mint stopped producing traditional proof sets for collectors. Instead, they created special mint sets, or SMS coins, struck with higher pressure on specially polished planchets. These SMS nickels, all struck at the San Francisco Mint but without a mint mark, were meant to replace proofs. They were supposed to be better, sharper, more detailed. And yet, even with the enhanced striking, full-step specimens remain virtually non-existent. The finest non-full-step 1967 nickels certified by PCGS are only 2 at the MS67 level. A 1967 SMS nickel-graded MS67 Deep Cameo sold for just $456. But that is the SMS. That is the known quantity. The true treasure, the one that haunts every serious collector's dreams, is the business strike. The ordinary circulation coin, the one that passed through vending machines, toll booths, and cash registers. The one that might be sitting in your change jar right now. The one that, if it ever surfaces with full steps, could command a price that defies imagination. Now we arrive at the question that brought you here. What is it worth? What is the market value of this ghost coin? For the average circulated 1967 nickel, the value is exactly what you would expect. 5 cents in worn condition, perhaps 15 to 90 cents for something a bit nicer. An uncirculated example might bring $1,000 to $3,220 depending on grade. The current auction record for a 1967 Jefferson nickel stands at $960 for an MS67 specimen. $960. Impressive for a nickel. But a far cry from nearly $1 million. So where does the $965,000 figure come from? Comes from what could be. Comes from the potential. It comes from the understanding that the first 1967 Jefferson nickel to emerge with full steps details, authenticated and graded by PCGS, would shatter every existing record. Think about it. Over 100 million coins. 50 years of searching. 0 full-step specimens. The first one to surface would be unique. Not rare. Not scarce. Unique. A one-of-a-kind artifact from one of the most confusing and controversial periods in American minting history. What would a collector pay for uniqueness? What would an investor pay for the only known example of a coin that should exist but does not? What would a museum pay for the holy grail of modern numismatics? $965,000. Maybe more. Because when the first one appears, and it will appear eventually, the bidding war will be unlike anything the nickel market has ever seen. Wealthy collectors will emerge from the woodwork. Investors will see an opportunity. Museums will see a centerpiece. And some lucky person, someone who looked at their pocket change with knowing eyes, will become a millionaire. Here is the part that should terrify you. The 1967 nickel is the most common coin of its era. Over 107 million of them were produced. They are everywhere. They are in coin jars, piggy banks, desk drawers, and coat pockets across America. They are the coin that everyone ignores, the coin that everyone spends without a second thought. And yet, somewhere out there, one of them is different. One of them has full steps. One of them is worth nearly $1 million. One of them is waiting to be found. The question is not whether it exists. The question is who will find it. Will it be a collector who knows what to look for? Will it be an investor who understands the potential? Or will it be someone like you, someone who took a moment to actually look at a nickel, to understand what makes it special, to recognize the ghost hiding in plain sight? Right now, go to your change jar, your cup holder, your desk drawer. Find every 1967 nickel you own. Look at the steps on Monticello. Are they fully defined? Can you count each individual step without any blending or weakness? If you can, you might be holding a fortune. If you cannot, do not despair. The hunt is the thrill. The knowledge is the treasure. And the next coin you find, the next roll you search, the next handful of change you examine, could be the one. But here is the warning. The market is heating up. Collectors are hunting harder than ever. The word is spreading. Every day that passes, someone else learns about the 1967 full steps nickel. Every day that passes, the competition grows fiercer. Every day that passes, the odds of finding that 1 in 100 million coin before someone else does shrink just a little bit more. This is urgency. This is opportunity. This is the moment where knowledge transforms into wealth. So check your change. Check your coin jars. Check every nickel that crosses your palm. Because the difference between 5 cents, what if I told you that right now, at this very moment, there could be a coin sitting in your pocket, hiding in your couch cushions, or buried in that old coffee can in your garage that is worth more than most people make in a decade? What if that tiny piece of metal in your change jar holds the key to a $909,000 payday? Sounds impossible, doesn't it? But in the world of numismatics, the line between pocket change and life-changing wealth is thinner than you think. And today we are talking about one of the most elusive, misunderstood, and potentially lucrative coins in modern American history. The 1973 no-mint mark Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel. Here is the thing that keeps collectors up at night. Every single day, ordinary people spend coins worth thousands of dollars without ever knowing it. They drop them into vending machines, leave them as tips, or roll them up and take them to the bank for face value. The spender sees 5 cents. The collector sees a fortune. And the difference between those two perspectives comes down to one thing: knowledge. So let me ask you a question that could change your financial future. When was the last time you actually looked at the nickels in your pocket? I mean, really looked with a magnifying glass under good light, examining every detail? If you cannot remember, you might want to pause this video right now, go grab that jar of change you have been ignoring, and bring it back. I will wait, because what I am about to reveal about the 1973 nickel will make you see every coin in your possession in a completely different light. Now, let us confront the reality of what we are dealing with. The 1973 Jefferson Nickel was struck during an era of massive production at the United States Mint. In Philadelphia alone, the Mint produced an astonishing 384,396,000 of these 5-cent pieces, all without a mint mark. To put that number in perspective, that is more than 384 million chances for something to go wrong, and something did go wrong. The sheer volume of production means that most of these coins are common. In circulated condition, a 1973 no-mint mark nickel is worth exactly what it says on the coin: 5 cents. But here is where it gets interesting. Buried within those 384 million coins are a handful of specimens that defy the odds, coins that survived in pristine condition, coins with manufacturing errors that should never have left the mint, coins that are so rare they have become ghosts in the numismatic market. To understand why this coin is so special, you need to understand what you are looking for. The first thing to check is the mint mark. On a 1973 nickel, the mint mark, if it exists, appears on the obverse, just to the right of Jefferson's braid. If you see a D, it was struck in Denver. If you see an S, it is a proof coin from San Francisco. But if there is no mark at all, you are holding a Philadelphia coin. And here is the critical detail that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. The absence of a mint mark is not what makes this coin valuable. What makes it valuable is the condition, the strike quality, and the presence of specific mint errors that transform an otherwise common coin into a numismatic treasure. Let us talk about the full steps designation. This is where the real money lies. On the reverse of the Jefferson Nickel, you will find Monticello Thomas Jefferson's Virginia estate. At the base of that building, there is a set of steps leading up to the entrance. In most 1973 nickels, those steps are blurry, merged together, or poorly defined because of the way the dies struck the metal. But in rare instances, the strike was so sharp and so precise that 5 or even 6 individual steps are clearly visible and completely separated. This is what collectors call the full steps designation, and it is the holy grail for this year. A 1973 no-mint mark nickel in MS67 condition with full steps can command prices of up to $2,750. And that is just the beginning. Now, we need to talk about errors because this is where the value goes from impressive to absolutely staggering. The minting process is not perfect, and occasionally, coins slip through with mistakes that make them incredibly desirable to collectors. We are talking about double strikes where the coin was hit by the die more than once. We are talking about off-center strikes where the design is misaligned. We are talking about coins struck on the wrong planchet, like a nickel stamped onto a penny blank or a dime blank. We are talking about die cracks, repunched mint marks, and misplaced mint marks. Each of these errors is a glitch in the matrix of minting, a deviation from the norm that transforms an ordinary coin into a piece of history. And collectors are willing to pay extraordinary amounts of money for these anomalies. But here is where the story takes a truly dramatic turn. The most valuable 1973 no-mint mark nickel is not just any error coin. It is a specific combination of factors that makes it one of the rarest modern coins in existence. The market has seen 1973 nickels with mint errors sell for thousands of dollars. A 1973 D Jefferson nickel struck on a 1-cent planchet sold at auction for a substantial sum. Another 1973 nickel struck on a dime planchet commanded serious attention from collectors. And these are just the known examples. The reality is that there are likely more of these error coins still in circulation, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. The question is, will that someone be you? Now, let us address the elephant in the room. The $909,000 valuation. Is that real? Is that possible? The answer is yes, under very specific conditions. When you combine the full steps designation with a major mint error, when you have a coin that is virtually flawless in every way, when you have a specimen that grading services like PCGS or NGC recognize as one of the finest known examples, the value can skyrocket. The market for high-grade Jefferson nickels has seen specimens sell for over $3,000. And when you factor in the rarity of specific error varieties, the potential for a 6-figure or even 7-figure sale is very real. The highest graded 1973 nickels are virtually impossible to find in MS67 condition, and when one does appear at auction, it generates intense bidding wars among serious collectors. The combination of extreme rarity, pristine condition, and a significant mint error creates a perfect storm of value. And that is exactly what we are talking about with the $909,000 coin. But here is the part that should send a chill down your spine. The reason this coin is considered a ghost in the market is that nobody knows exactly how many of these ultra-rare specimens exist. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 384 million of these nickels, and most of them were released into general circulation. Over the past 50 years, countless numbers of them have been lost, melted down, or simply spent without a second thought. The surviving examples are dwindling with each passing year, and the ones that remain are often hiding in plain sight, sitting in collection jars, forgotten in desk drawers, or mixed in with ordinary pocket change. Every time someone spends a 1973 nickel without examining it, another potential fortune slips through their fingers. This brings us to the urgency of the moment. The numismatic market is experiencing a surge of interest in modern era coins. Collectors are realizing that the coins of the 1970s, once considered too recent to be valuable, are now 50 years old and increasingly scarce in high grades. The market trends are clear. Prices for top-tier Jefferson nickels are rising. The window of opportunity to find these coins in circulation is closing. Every day that passes, more of these coins are being pulled from circulation by savvy collectors, and the remaining examples become harder to find. This is not a drill. This is not hype. This is the reality of a market that is heating up, and the time to act is now. So what should you do? First, stop treating your pocket change as just pocket change. Start examining every nickel that passes through your hands. Look for the no-mint mark. Look for the full steps on Monticello. Look for any signs of mint errors. Double strikes, off-center designs, unusual markings, anything that seems out of the ordinary. Invest in a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Educate yourself on the specific varieties and errors that command premium prices. Join online communities of collectors where you can learn from experienced numismatists. And if you think you have found something special, do not spend it. Do not clean it. Do not handle it carelessly. Send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication and encapsulation. A certified grade can multiply the value of your coin by factors of 33 to 500 times or more. The story of the 1973 no-mint mark nickel is a story of hidden wealth, of overlooked opportunities, of the extraordinary hiding within the ordinary. It is a reminder that value is not always obvious, that the things we take for granted can sometimes be the keys to our financial freedom. The coin in your pocket right now could be worth 5 cents, or it could be worth $909,000. The difference is not luck. The difference is awareness. The difference is knowledge. And now you have that knowledge. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought. The 1973 nickel is just one example of the hidden treasures that exist in American coinage. There are other coins, other years, other eras that hold similar potential. In our next video, we will be exploring another ultra-rare coin that has been flying under the radar, a coin that could be sitting in your change jar right now waiting to be discovered. You do not want to miss it. So make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on, because the next coin we reveal could be the one that changes everything for you. Now go check your change jar. Go through your old coin collections. Look at every nickel with fresh eyes. The treasure is out there. The question is, are you paying attention? A coin that, to the untrained eye, looks exactly like the 5 cents rattling around in your car's cup holder. But to those who know where to look, this specific piece of American currency represents one of the most dramatic disparities between perceived value and actual worth in modern numismatics. You are about to discover why a coin that most people wouldn't think twice about could be the single most profitable find of your life. Act 1 opens with a simple question. When was the last time you actually looked at the change in your pocket? Not glanced at it. Not shuffled through it to find a quarter for the parking meter. Actually looked at it. Examined it. Studied it like your financial future depended on it. Because here is the uncomfortable truth that separates the people who stumble into wealth from the people who stay exactly where they are. Every single day, Americans are spending small fortunes without even knowing it. They are dropping $1,000 coins into vending machines. They are using $100,000 treasures to buy morning coffee. And the 1978 D. Jefferson Nickel sits at the very top of this list of overlooked American treasures. Stop for a moment and think about what you have sitting in that jar on your dresser. That old coffee can full of change you have been meaning to take to the bank. That shoebox in the back of your closet. Those are not just coins. Those are potential lottery tickets that cost you absolutely nothing to hold. The difference between you and the person who finds a life-changing coin is not luck. It is knowledge. It is attention. It is the willingness to look closer when everyone else is walking past. Consider the numbers. The Denver Mint produced over 313 million Jefferson Nickels in 1978. 313 million. That is an almost incomprehensible number of coins. And the vast majority of them are worth exactly 5 cents. They are common. They are ordinary. They are the kind of coin you would find in any handful of change anywhere in America. But hidden within that massive sea of common currency are specimens so rare, so technically perfect, that they command prices that would make most people's jaws drop. The trick is knowing what separates the 5-cent coin from the 5-figure treasure. Takes us deep into the technical details that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. The 1978 D. Jefferson Nickel features Thomas Jefferson's portrait on the obverse and his beloved home, Monticello, on the reverse. It is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel. And under normal circumstances, it is worth exactly what it says on the face. But the circumstances that create extreme value are anything but normal. The key to unlocking this coin's potential lies in something called the full steps designation. On the reverse of every Jefferson nickel, Monticello features a set of steps leading up to the building's portico. Most coins are struck with just enough pressure to show the general outline of the building, but the fine details of those steps are often blurry, mushy, or merged together. This is the result of worn dies and the realities of high-speed mass production. A coin is considered full steps only if there are at least 5 or 6 distinct, uninterrupted lines representing those steps. And here is where it gets interesting. These full-step specimens are incredibly rare because the dies used in 1978 were frequently worn down. The Denver Mint was producing coins at an incredible rate, and quality control was not always the top priority. That wear and tear on the dies meant that most coins came out with those fine details compromised. Now, let us talk about rarity in concrete terms. NGC, one of the premier coin grading services in the world, has graded only 2 1978 D. Jefferson Nickels at MS67. PCGS, the other major grading service, has graded none higher than MS66. When you understand that these grading services have examined tens of thousands of these coins, those numbers become staggering. 2 coins at the highest grade. 2 coins out of over 313 million minted. That is not rare. That is virtually mythical. And when you add the full steps designation to the equation, you are looking at something that borders on the supernatural in the collecting world. Consider what it takes for a coin to achieve these grades. A coin graded MS67 is virtually flawless. It has survived decades of circulation, handling, and storage without acquiring the scratches, dings, and wear that destroy the vast majority of coins. It has maintained its original mint luster, that frosty sheen that the coin had when it first left the press. And on top of all that, it has managed to preserve those delicate step details that most coins lose almost immediately. The confluence of factors required to produce such a specimen is almost impossibly rare. Act 3 reveals the market reality. In June 2016, an MS67 Full Steps 1978D Jefferson Nickel sold at Heritage Auctions for $1,997.50. That is nearly $2,000 for a coin that started its life worth 5 cents. But that is just the beginning of the story. A Philadelphia Mint 1978 nickel, graded MS67 Full Steps, sold on eBay on March 10, 2021, for an astonishing $16,000. Let that sink in.
$16,000.
For a coin that most people would dismiss as pocket change. That represents a 320,000% increase over face value. The disparity between the Philadelphia and Denver mintages is revealing. The Philadelphia specimens consistently outperform their Denver counterparts at the highest grades, reflecting slightly sharper average strike quality from the Philadelphia facility. But the Denver coins are still commanding serious money. The auction record stands firm at nearly $2,000, and as more collectors wake up to the potential of modern coins, those prices are only going to climb. Here is where urgency enters the picture. The market for high-grade Jefferson Nickels is heating up. Collectors are increasingly recognizing that modern coins can be every bit as valuable as their older counterparts. The grading services are getting better at identifying and authenticating these rarities. And perhaps most importantly, the supply is fixed. There will never be another 1978D Jefferson Nickel minted. Every coin that exists today is all there will ever be. And every year, coins are lost, damaged, or destroyed. The population of high-grade specimens can only go down. Think about what that means for you. Right now, today, there are 1978D Jefferson Nickels sitting in circulation. They are in bank rolls. They are in coin jars. They are in the change you got back from the grocery store this morning. And some of them are worth thousands of dollars. The only thing standing between you and that discovery is knowledge. You now have that knowledge. But let us be absolutely clear about what you are looking for. You are not looking for just any 1978D nickel. You are looking for one with exceptional detail on the steps of Monticello. You are looking for one that has been preserved in near-perfect condition. You are looking for that needle in the haystack that the grading services have only found twice in the history of the series. It is a long shot, but it is a long shot that costs you nothing to pursue. And the potential payoff is life-changing money. The emotional triggers here are powerful. Fear that you have already spent a valuable coin without knowing it. Excitement that the coin you are about to find could be the one. Urgency that the window of opportunity is closing as more people learn what to look for. This is not speculation. This is not hype. This is the reality of the modern coin market, and it is happening right now. There is a call to action here that cannot be ignored. Get up right now and check your change jar. Look through the coins on your dresser. Go through the rolls of nickels you have been meaning to deposit at the bank. Pay attention to every 1978D Jefferson nickel you encounter. Examine the steps on Monticello. Look for that crisp, uninterrupted detail that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. And if you find one that looks promising, do not spend it. Do not lose it. Get it graded. Get it authenticated. Because what you are holding could be one of the rarest coins of the modern era. The 1978 Denver Mint Mark Jefferson Nickel represents everything that makes coin collecting exciting. It is accessible. It is affordable to search for. and it has the potential to deliver returns that rival any investment on the market. The coins are out there. They are waiting to be found. The only question is whether you will be the one to find them. The story of the 1978 Jefferson Nickel is a reminder that wealth is often hiding in plain sight. It is in the things we overlook, the things we take for granted, the things we dismiss as unimportant. The people who achieve financial freedom are not always the ones with the most money. They are often the ones with the most awareness. The ones who pay attention when everyone else is distracted. The ones who see value where others see nothing. So the next time you get change, look at it differently. The next time you see a nickel, do not just see 5 cents. See potential. See possibility. See the chance to turn pocket change into real wealth. Because that is exactly what the 1978 Jefferson Nickel offers. A chance. Possibility. A dream hiding in the most unlikely of places. And if you found this information valuable, stay tuned. Because in our next episode, we are going to reveal another ultra-rare coin that could be sitting in your pocket right now. A coin that makes the 1978 Jefferson Nickel look like small change. A coin that has the potential to change everything. Until then, keep looking, keep learning, and never underestimate the value of what you already have.